Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Business Spotlight. I'm your host today, Todd Rodden. I'm a certified executive and business coach. I own Aspire Action Coach based here in the Dayton, Ohio area. We're excited to have Mike Menninger here with us today. Mike is co-founder, co-owner of the Hauk Menninger law firm. He's also a board certified estate attorney as well. And he's going to share with us his story as a still fairly early stage entrepreneur with deep legal expertise as well. For those viewers, we're thrilled to have you joining us today. And if it's your first time on the Spotlight, we encourage you to go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you'll receive future messages for other interesting entrepreneurs like Mike that you're going to hear today as well. So, Mike, we're thrilled to have you join the Spotlight. Maybe just take a minute, introduce yourself, and tell us a little bit about Hauk Menninger.
Sure. Thanks, Todd. I appreciate it. Yeah, Mike Menninger. I am a board certified estate planner. We work in the South Dayton area of Ohio. We've got a reach that goes a little bit around there, but the focus of our practice is estate planning, elder law, and then estate settlement work. So helping families transition when somebody passes away to make sure that things are handled appropriately and hopefully as smoothly and efficiently as possible. Obviously, the better planning that people do, the easier those transitions get. But it's a blessing that we get to work with so many families in what are sort of vulnerable situations. I've got a good team here, and we're fortunate to be able to see those people through those situations and do it successfully. So Hauk Menninger Law, we typically shorten it in casual conversation to HM Law, just fewer syllables, easier to type or spell. But yeah, HM Law was founded by me and my partner, Rachel Hauk, sitting at my kitchen table in September of 2021. So I had the privilege to work with Rachel at a prior firm. And as we got to know each other, we discovered that our philosophy towards planning aligned. And where we were, a great firm, but she and I wanted to do things a little bit differently. We worked not where we lived, and she and I both live in a very similar part of town. Both have young families, and so the decision was ultimately made to hang our own shingle and try to build something of our own, and to be able to do it within minutes of our families as they continue to grow, and to build something for us and for our futures as a way for us to help plan. So yeah, we started again at my kitchen table. It was Labor Day of 2021, and working on getting things ready for the filing of the paperwork, and not necessarily knowing where the first client was actually going to come from, but having faith in each other and our skill sets that we were going to make this thing work. Yeah, fast forward from there to here, and we can dig into the journey if you want a little bit. But now there are 6 of us here at the firm.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to add a 7th at the firm. And we've got nice office space here in a building in Dayton as we continue to grow. So yeah, it's been a fun journey. I've learned a whole lot. I probably have learned that there's more that I don't know about running a business than I do. But I've really enjoyed it getting to this point. And while we haven't made all the right steps, I think we've made a lot of right steps to be able to get to this point. So this is a fun way to make a living.
Okay. That kitchen table, the launch pad for so many businesses. Right?
That's right.
But
Yeah.
that big scary step of moving out onto your own. Sounds like you've had great growth in the last couple of years. You talked about the staff you've added, and more to come as well. So, what have been some of the keys to that growth?
Yeah. I think I don't want to be so proud as to say that luck didn't have a role in it. I think luck did have a little bit of role in our success, but I think our relationships from jump had a big role in this. Again, knowing our skill set and knowing that we were capable of this, but also not knowing where our first paying client was going to come from, you got to start hustling, right? And so you got to start letting people know that this is a venture that you're on. And I think when you've got good relationships, people want to support you and support that relationship. And so we did have people that were willing to start sending us referrals. When we started looking for office space, we have a colleague in the real estate industry who is fantastic in her practice, but also a fantastic person. And she let us use office space in a building that she had for, next to nothing, as long as we were good citizens, and we worked really hard to be. So, we were able to keep really low overhead as we got ramped up. I think that was a really big part of all of this, just leveraging relationships, getting the word out there, and I think being humble enough to ask for help. As we started to get some momentum, it was no longer possible for Rachel and I to do this on our own. And so we were able to get people on board to join our team. Somebody that Rachel and I had known previously joined us. We met somebody who had no experience in the law, but was somebody who was referred to us by somebody that I know to jump into a client services role. And she's been a tremendous help to the firm, to take some of the administrative burden and the operations burden off of us. So we were able to get some good people in early, and then do good work, right? And we were committed to doing good work, and that also made people want to continue to send referrals. It helped clients feel comfortable in sending referrals. Yeah, so I don't know if that's a unique journey of mine, but taking your time, connecting with the right people, and doing good work. That's how we've gotten to this point.
Any particular marketing channels that you've leveraged
Yeah.
borne the most fruit, or even networking channels that have been part of that?
So a big part of our client base is through referral marketing. And that it's nurturing relationships, and not all people out there are going to be good fits for us, or going to align with how we structure things from a process standpoint and everything else. I mean, I think we're pretty approachable, but I think actively meeting people, actively nurturing relationships has been really vital, because those types of referrals, they come in warm. And I think your close rate goes up when you have a champion out there saying, this is who you should hire, as opposed to, sort of cold referrals or just lead gen type of things. That being said, I built our website very early and worked to get a Google My Business profile, and started doing some of the basic Google spend. I didn't know what I didn't know then, but I knew that I needed to do some boosting and get us out there and pushing content onto the website through blog writing and things like that. So that has evolved over time, and we're not doing all that in-house anymore. We've engaged some people to help us with SEO, and to help us do some writing and social media things, which I think has certainly helped us on the lead gen side, at least through Google. And then they're helping push things for us, into Facebook and to LinkedIn as well, which has given us some traction. It took us a minute to get here too, by the way, but we have developed through our internal software here our ability to track every lead that comes in, whether it's through a specific referral or whether it's through Google or Facebook or whatever else, which is going to help us as we calculate our marketing spend in future years. And, as we, start measuring the size of the gift baskets to send to our referrals, we're going to have a really good idea of how much potential and actual business referrals have sent us. And frankly, if people are sending us stuff that isn't closing, it's going to tell us that too. And there's an opportunity for us to coach those people who want to be champions for us, but maybe haven't quite figured out how to do it. Another thing that we have done, and we're shifting on it a little bit, but educational workshops is a common practice in estate planning. Call them dinner workshops, call them whatever you want. That's a very common approach. And we had done some of that, and to some degree of success. Certainly, it was a way for us to at least get our name out there, get marketing materials out there, and our logo, and some brand awareness. But we were on that hot and heavy early on, but we have scaled that back because there have perception has been diminishing returns, and in having conversations with other practitioners across the country, I get the sense that approach is changing. And so education is important for our clients. And so we're working on some other avenues and some free courses that we're going to be developing for people as a way to continue that education outreach. We like to say an HM Law client is an educated client, and we want the education to start before they even see us. So we've got some stuff in the marketing pipeline to really push this education piece to make it more accessible, and to find ways to market that out there too. But I think education is how we all make good decisions. And if we can help people make good decisions, whether it involves us or not, I still think it's good for the community.
So maybe take a minute, talk about who your target customers are, your ideal client, and then since
Yeah.
referrals are such a big part of your growth, who are ideal referral partners? What types of businesses are they in?
Um, I got distracted thinking about the referral partners. Reframe the first question for me.
Yeah. So who's your ideal customer?
Ideal customer. Yeah.
Who, if someone's listening to this, how they might know, hey,
Yeah.
I should connect. Okay.
So our practice areas span people of quite literally all wealth levels. Um, the middle 85% of our bell curve is our millionaire next door. I mean, that really is who generally hires us, but that's also just a cross section of the demographics around where we are. That's you take the equity in the house and the IRAs and 401ks and the life insurance. And, we have lots of millionaires next door in the South Dayton part of the state. But our ideal client isn't, we don't gauge them by wealth level. Planning opportunities available to them, certainly wealth level matters, but we're about mindset here. Clients that want a relationship, somebody who doesn't approach estate planning as transactional work, clients who want to participate in the process and not just have something, delivered to them. We like to say we're not document salespeople, and there's a model out there that works for people who do estate planning in the transactional document sales approach. That's not who we are. We are more relationship based, and so the ideal client for us is somebody who wants to come in and participate in a process that works, wants to engage in the process with us, and wants to have a long-term relationship. And so whether somebody is worth $50,000 or $50 million, the mindset wins over anything else as long as they find value in the relationship.
And then kind of, conversely, since referrals are key to your growth flow. So who are the typical, excellent referral partners?
Our allied professionals are good referral sources. So people that are in the financial industry, in the tax industry, in the insurance industry, these are our typical types of relationships, where there's some symmetry and crossover and collaboration that's necessary in some of the things that we do. But we've got, especially in my partner, Rachel, her elder law practice, she's got a lot of connections in the senior world, whether it be placement people, benefit people, facilities providers, service providers, social workers. There's a whole lane out there of people that need help with planning and with nursing home crisis situations and things like that, that are fantastic referral sources for us too. But I've been able to engage other people in the education world. I've been able to engage people, funeral directors and funeral homes have, these are relationships that we value as well. But the referral partners that work for us are the people that really buy into our message. So we have clients that are great referral partners, right? They just are. We're not kicking referrals back to them necessarily, but they're big believers in what we do, and they're willing to sing our praises.
Yeah, the power of word of mouth. Oh, always.
Yeah, amen.
Right.
Amen. Yeah.
So you're 2.5, going on 3 years into the journey. You with your partner there as well. But what's been you mentioned this before, I think a lot of learnings on the way. So what's been the biggest obstacle you've had to overcome, and how have you had to grow as a leader?
So the biggest obstacle that we had to overcome, and look, there are plenty of small businesses who would, and growing businesses that would probably be angry to hear this response, but we got traction, I think, sooner than we thought we would. We were prepared to grind it out and to not make much money for a while and put money back into the business. And we did do that, but we also were generating some clients at a pretty good clip. And so our growth and our revenue happened a little faster than we anticipated. And so time that we thought we were going to have to ramp up and to develop systems and to develop processes, we started having to spend more time in the business than on the business. And I don't know that we could have done it any differently given how things transpired. But even now, to a certain extent, we're chasing a little bit of that. We've got our team around us that helps us with all of those things. But as we continue to define who we are as a firm and our culture, and as we grow, the importance of these procedures and processes and redundancy and all of these things becomes really vital. And so as we add new team members, we discover things that we didn't have in place, or that maybe was up here but wasn't anywhere down here. So it's probably dedicating more time to being on the firm instead of in the firm, or just simply dedicating more time to being on the firm, irrespective of how much time we spent in the firm. Probably could have done that a little bit more differently, or a little bit better. But the long winding road to where you are, and who knows if you'd have gotten to the same place if you'd done it differently. So I don't know.
So that's kind of looking back now. As you look forward, what's the biggest challenge ahead of you? Is it still to continue to build out those processes and procedures and those kind of systems, or something else?
It is related to that, but I will tell you, personally, I think the biggest problem for me is me. I'm not sure that I'm unique to this, but it's control, right? And I still, despite having an awesome team, there are still lots of things that I feel like I'm the only one that can do those things. And even if I may be the only one that can get it 100% done, I know intuitively that there are plenty of people that can help me get it 20, 50, 80, or 90% of the way there. And heck, maybe they can even get it 100% of the way there. But I still have trouble finding time to delegate projects and tasks. And this is all a me problem. My team's aptitude and willingness is unquestioned. It's usually I'm the one that's in the way. I get too busy. I focus on something else. I don't come up with a plan. So I'll trip over myself sometimes on developing these processes and procedures.
I appreciate your openness and transparency with that.
It's real, man. It's real.
So that leads right into team. So you've done some hiring, you've built a core group. I think what you said, 6, with more to come here as well. So what have been the keys to attracting talent? Yeah, you walked through a couple examples, and how do you build that spirit of collaboration and the right culture?
Yeah. So we've built the team. We have truthfully had a couple of misfires as we built the team. And I think the lesson that I know, but has been reinforced through those couple of missteps, and we share some of the blame in those missteps too, right, is not putting mindset at the forefront. And we do the things, we like understanding our clients' Colby profile and how they work in the office. We like understanding their disc profile and personality profile, so we know how they prefer to be communicated with, and trying to ascertain how they best communicate. That's critical for us as leaders. The old saying that if just because we're hammers doesn't mean everything's a nail, and it's truly upon the people that are setting the vision and setting the leadership for the firm. It's our responsibility to communicate effectively. It's not theirs, even if they're willing to, and are capable. It's still not their responsibility. But we also try to preach that, look, we want everyone to know our types too, because there's ways that we like to be communicated with, and to the extent that we can be adaptable, I think that's been good. But truly, mindset over skill set. Skills can be taught, but mindset can't. People with the right mindset will develop the skills, and they will know the right things to say in the right situations because they're approaching it the right way. So when we hire, we look for that first. we've got one rule in hiring. The rest is all, open for debate. But one rule is if you don't care about the work, you can't work here. If you don't care about the work, you can't work here. There's too much at stake. There's too much personal stuff. There's too much client vulnerability in our practice areas. And while we want to be profitable, we want to be successful, we want to provide for our families and do all the things, we don't want it to be at the expense of the client experience. We don't want it to be at the expense of the heart that goes into what we do. And if us doing things a little bit differently costs us a couple of bucks along the way, that's a trade-off I'm willing to make, and that everybody here is willing to make, because we do good work for people. So the mindset over skill is the most important thing.
So you talked about, some of the like personality profiles, assessments, discs, things like that. But in the interviewing process, right, before you bring them on, how do you, what are your tools or practices you use to really get into that understanding the mindset, and do they really have that level of caring for the work?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm a disciple of Sandler training. There's not I don't think there's a lot, well, at least anecdotally through my coach, there are not a lot of attorneys who go through sales training. But for those people that have, and I don't mean to turn this into a commercial, but for me, Sandler was not just sales training, it was communication training.
Yeah.
It was how to communicate, and how to ask questions, and how to listen, and how to set next steps, and all of those kinds of things, which has been vital to the practice. But I have taken that coaching into the interview process, and it's not just the surface level questions. It's drilling down and going that next layer deep, and asking the why questions, and the what does that mean, and how did that impact you? Those kinds of next level questions, and then just getting out of the way and letting people talk. That's how I try to approach the interview process when I'm meeting with somebody. And I'm also willing to talk about what may be like, how is this relevant to this job and where we are in the interview process, but just trying to get to know people a little bit, to ask questions about their personal life and figure out the things that motivate them and what motivate them. It's all just part of it. It's all just part of it. So again, you can ask about people's ability to work within Excel and how comfortable they are with CRMs, and that's all helpful. But yeah, I think you got to try to know who they are from a culture standpoint.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So almost 3 years in on this journey, what's your longer term vision and dream for the business? You look down the road, maybe 3, 5 years.
Yeah, look, I really am proud of the work that we do here, and I try not to approach this practice with too much in the way of ego. But I want our firm to be the firm in our region, right? When people think of estate planning and elder law, I want them to think of us. I want them to see our logo in their minds. I want them to see the logo when they look at, around the web and other types of resources. But I don't ever want to be a huge firm. I think that there's a revenue target that we have, an annual revenue target that we have, that strikes a really good balance between the demands that it will put on me and Rachel to run the firm, to be on the firm. But I find a lot of personal satisfaction in still being in the firm and engaging with the team and engaging with clients, and not just doing the CEO type of work. And so I think we're 6 going on 7 strong right now. I imagine we'll probably land somewhere in the 15 team member range over the next maybe 5 years, with a revenue target that allows us to take care, Rachel and I, to take care of ourselves and the work that we put in, but also allows our employees to grow with us, allows them to participate in sharing profits of the firm, and allows us to still continue to provide that good focused service, and service with heart that we want to. I don't need to take over the world. I just want to have a good life and take care of my people. That means my clients, my team, my family.
Yeah. Good. No, thank you very much from the heart. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So obviously our audience here, other entrepreneurs, many of which are early in their stages with ownership as well. So, what's your advice you'd have had that person who's out there, they're in their first year, starting up their business, knowing what you know now, what would you share with them?
So I would say there's probably a few things. I'm kind of going off the top of my head here, but figure out who you are and how you communicate. That it can't be understated, because and then share it with the people that are around you that you're bringing onto the team, and ask the same of them, because your ability to communicate effectively, your ability to understand your personality type, your preferred communication methods is really vital to things moving forward the right way. Because otherwise there can be just a lot of a disconnect in how things are getting done and whether they're getting done efficiently and whether messages are even being delivered properly or received properly. Number two, I know not every entrepreneur's goal is to be in the business that they're building right now long term. And plenty of entrepreneurs sit in a commodity type role, a service or product. And so I know I'm sort of Pollyanna, pie in the sky, unicorns and rainbows kind of stuff, thinking about my firm. It doesn't have to be that way, but I think it's important that you figure out what it is that you want out of the business. Try to be nimble, but set some targets. And is the goal to build this thing up and sell it, or is the goal to build this thing and create a legacy for your family? Or what is the goal? I don't think that can be understated. I'm sure that's advice that people get all the time, but figure out where you fit into your business. Is this your business, or is this you're building it for someone else later? The other thing that I would encourage people to do, and it took me a minute to get here too, it's okay that you don't know everything. Give yourself permission to not know everything. Give yourself forgiveness that you don't know everything. But then work as hard as you can to figure it out, or to find ways to delegate those things that you don't know or don't want to do to other people. Obviously, startups, that's easier said than done when you have a limited amount of resources. But for me, it was once we started getting resources, we were able to start offloading things, and whether that was through bringing people in or through outsourcing to other vendors and service providers. Try to know what you don't know. You'll discover things you don't know along the way, and just keep plugging away. But you're not going to know it all. You can't know it all, and that's all right.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and a couple of points you added before feed right into that. So hiring for mindset, because people with the right mindset, they'll figure it out as well, right? And then
Exactly.
also being open to ask for help, right?
Yes.
Leverage your network, right? Because you're never going to
Yes.
know everything, right?
Right. Yeah.
So as we get close to wrapping up here, before we jump into the last question, what are the best ways for folks to stay connected with you and to follow the firm?
Yeah. So, I mean, we're out and about in our community. I know that your reach goes well beyond the community here. You and I happen to be in a in the same community just by happenstance here, but we blog consistently. So HM, as in Hauk Menninger, hmestateplanning.com is one way to find out more about us, and you can learn about our processes and of course follow our blog there. We do have an active presence on both LinkedIn and Facebook as well. I've been fortunate to actually meet some people through LinkedIn that I've become friends and colleagues and collaborate with that I've still yet to meet in person. Colleagues across the country, and happened to find an advisor who we connected on a post from a total disconnected third party, and he was just down the road in Cincinnati. So we've already met in person and have done some back and forth a little bit. So yeah, we're out there. I like meeting new people. I like being a resource for people, but that's how they can find us.
Okay. So, thank you for sharing that. Again, encourage folks to follow and make those connections as well. Wrap up question. So what are you inspired by today?
Yeah, it's my family, Todd. I go back to the beginning and the roots of my firm, and one of the driving factors was I wanted to be close to my people. I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for my retirement and for my family. Um, and they motivate me every day. I'm a really lucky guy with the people that I get to go home to and spend time with, and they push me to be the best that I can be here. So again, maybe that's trite, but in this case, it's very much true.
Okay. Well, hey, Mike, thanks for sharing from the heart and also for sharing your story around the startup of your firm, Houck Menninger as well. So we appreciate you making the time and
Thanks,
sharing
Todd.
your words of wisdom. So again, for the viewers out there, thank you for joining us today. Again, we encourage you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can receive future drops from other business leaders as well. So, and thanks, Mike. Thank you to our viewers, and hope you all have a terrific day.